Today, we're at beautiful City Hall in San Francisco. As many of you know, San Francisco City Hall is one of the finest examples of Baroque architecture, not just in San Francisco, but in the country. What you may not know about City Hall is, in its current location, this is the 5th City Hall that San Francisco built. It was built after the 1906 earthquake. The previous City Hall was damaged and demolished. The building took roughly 2 years to build, and the voters approved the bond for $8 million to buy the land and build the building. The construction totaled around $3.5 million. Imagine that in today's dollars. For $3.5 million, the city was able to build this magnificent building in a record time. City Hall was damaged after the 1989 Loma Prieta earthquake. Public Works' role was to restore and seismically upgrade the building. We had a team of consultants and architects, city engineers who worked on the project. Our role was to define the scope of the renovations and do a full seismic upgrade and modernization. And so there's some very tricky things about City Hall that you will enjoy observing next time you come back, and we'll point those out to you. One of the most fascinating things about City Hall is that it's base isolated. What that means is the weight of the building, every column was placed on a base isolator. This is a quarter-size base isolator. It has 2 large plates of steel at the top and at the bottom. And the middle is made up like a cake. Layers of rubber and layers of steel. And when there's an earthquake, the energy is dissipated through the rubber and the steel plates. So this is connected to the ground, and this is connected to the building. And the building will experience a lesser magnitude earthquake than the ground will as a result of having these base isolators. So while you may come up the front stairs of City Hall many times, something that you may not have noticed is these are floating stairs. They're not connected to the ground because the building is base isolated. And the concept is that in case of an earthquake, when there's movement, the building will move separate from the ground. So the stairs can move in any direction up to 24 inches. So this represents the maximum distance that the building is expected to move in case of an earthquake. And this is a flex joint that will allow the building to move. So the building has a moat. I don't know if you ever noticed that. Again, on this concept of base isolation, in case of a massive earthquake and you were here, you could see the building coming close to you and moving away. When you're downstairs at the light courts, you have this beautiful glowing amount of light that comes in. What we did for the renovation is we removed metal deck and concrete that was put here. Nobody really knows, but what the stories that I heard is that during the war, they wanted to darken City Hall to make sure that we wouldn't have these amounts of light glowing. We consulted with a party planner when we were doing this of how people might set up the space for events, and they told us that at the 2 ends is most likely where you would have a band. So the rigging points that we put in there can carry 2,000 pounds of weight, which is the equivalent of a full-size car. And that's meant for carrying, hosting up speakers and equipment and be able to have bands that set up on either side of the light courts. That happens also on the north light court as well. The other scopes of work included how to modernize City Hall. We ended up putting emergency generators for backup power. We ended up putting miles and miles of cable to allow for internet connection. As you know, the building was built over 100 years ago, and it had not received any major upgrade to modernize it. Today, when you walk through City Hall, you see the grandeur of a building of a Baroque style, but it has the functionality of a modern building. When we get to the second floor, we had to add ramps after the seismic renovation to make it ADA compliant. There was no way of having somebody be able to go from the second floor to the board chambers. And so we needed to add those ramps. So these lights some of them were broken after the earthquake, so they're replicas that were fabricated in the south of France, where the original lights came from. The steel pieces that you see that are red in color, that's the primer. And that's how you can differentiate the new steel that was put as part of the seismic upgrade versus the historic structure. One of the biggest challenges of doing the work at this level was how to get these pieces of steel.
Yeah.
Because there's not a lot of room, as you can tell. So I remember seeing workers with the little rigs that they had trying to get the steel in place and how to connect it, get it into these tight spaces and do the welding. We're at the top of the dome area in City Hall, enjoying this gorgeous view that is uninterrupted and giving us a clear view of San Francisco. At City Hall, looking at the historic details of the building in contrast with the modern buildings that are growing up in San Francisco. It's a very special place to be, and we are very proud of our City Hall. I'm Edgar Lopez. Thanks for watching Public Works TV.